will not be streaming to YouTube.
So I should probably pull up Substack then?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start the Substack and the PeerTube streams there. So we should be green here in a minute. Yep, okay. We're green there.
We're on Substack, it looks like.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, cool. So we're actually on the stack. Oh, good, great. We already have 4 people in the chat. This is great. So, by the way, I mean, like Cruz, so it's my amazing life partner, Kira, and then the always amazing Brandon, and then super admin, Sarah, who, without which probably none of this would be possible. I just want to point that out. So,
you give me too much credit.
What?
You give me too much credit.
Why? By the way, Brandon, I have to ask, what do you think about my nail color?
I was actually going to say something about that.
Oh.
I like you've got red nails and a red headscarf and
honey.
a couple of red marks on your neck, it looks like. I'm not really sure about that part.
What happened, Wendy?
What? What are you talking about? Oh, this thing, it's a bee sting.
Very, very big bee.
I got stung by this very big bee. And the problem is, on the other side of my neck, is the same bee turned around and went for this side of my neck, too.
The same bee. I don't think that's how that works.
Like, it was the same bee that just kept stinging me over and over again.
I don't think they can do that.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
no. I mean, it depends. Oh, wow.
Wow, they could definitely do that. And they could go that far down there, too.
It got caught.
I had to fight the bee off.
Mm.
Fighting that bee off was not fun. Just want to tell you.
Not fun.
No. No, it was not. It was not at all entertaining to have to fight that bee off.
Not. Stop. Please don't. Is that the fighting you're talking about?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Please quit it. Stop. You're hurting me. I might like that a little much. So, day whatever the fuck, right? By the way, good afternoon, everyone that's watching. Day whatever the fuck we're in. How the fuck we got here, I don't know. So we're in the middle of a war that nobody knows exactly how to stop. The Iranian conflict is continuing to rage on. Just let me get some of the specifics out of the way. So get this. So Iran is allowing Spain to travel through the Strait of Hormuz without paying any fucking money. So Spain is the golden child to the Iranians. And everybody else has to pay $2 million to go through the strait. Even though Orange Shitstain is saying, we have it blockaded, and nobody's getting through, the Iranians are claiming that Spain has gotten like 5 or 6 of their ships through the strait without problem. So, I mean, holy fucking shit. How do you reconcile that with what the fuck is happening? Because I don't have any idea. On top of that, Peggy Noonan, who is a pretty hard right-wing Wall Street Journal columnist, wrote a column recently basically indicating that because of the Iranian conflict, Trump's lost. He's already lost the war because he can't get out of it, and he can't, now he's too chicken shit to finish the war. So now what's gonna happen? Like, we're in day 4 of the ceasefire. How long is that gonna last before Trump threatens to? By the way, I want to remind everybody that Trump told everybody that the war would be over on day 1. Kind of in the same way, by the way, that he said the war between Russia and Ukraine would be over on day 1. And as far as I'm aware, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, that war is still going on.
I would assume so.
Yeah, we all think that. Okay. So then leading into that, so Maggie Haberman said on Wednesday that she believes that, especially with Trump firing members of his cabinet now, he's fired 2 or 3 people in the last month and a half, and it's going to continue. Maggie Haberman says that she believes that Trump would just like to be done with the Iran war, but negotiations are stalling and going nowhere. And every day he's visibly agitated and visibly trying to distract people. And I posted this yesterday. So he goes into sundowners. So we all know what sundowner syndrome is, right? Brandon, do you want to tell the audience, for those that don't know, just in case?
It's a part of dementia that kind of you kind of trail off and don't know what you're talking about. I don't know the true definition of it, but I know just basically it's part of it.
Yeah, you basically go into full-blown dementia in the mid-afternoon, and you don't know where you are, and you lose.
Hence the name Sundowner.
Yes, sundowners. Yeah. So the Wall Street Journal. So in Noonan's article, she called Trump a sucker. Twice agreeing to a ceasefire without reopening the strait. He then fired back that Iran's Navy was severely damaged. Well, if they're damaged, then how is the blockade stopping ships from going through the strait? And there's right now, currently, 50,000 U.S. service members in the region, even before there are Marines that are going to get deployed. Which, by the way, over the week, Kira and I were in a local barbecue establishment, and there was a lovely, very clearly queer female couple sitting next to us, and one of them was in fatigues, and there was a lot of sort of difficult back and forth while Kira and I were sitting there eating barbecue. And they got up to leave, and I looked at Kira and I said, that's either a deployment or a breakup or both. So, you know, that's where we are at this point.
Yeah, but, I mean, fourth option. It might not be a fresh deployment. The person might have been back on leave.
That is true.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's true. That's very true. But you weren't there, Sarah, so how would you know?
Well, I'm just making an observation that that's how military works.
You described it. You don't need to be there for it.
Right?
So let's talk about the queer bit for today. And this was really hard. So the Call Me Max thing. So basically, this is what happened. So there's a book called Call Me Max, which is about a young trans boy, and it's a children's book. And the character's name is Max, and he's a trans boy who asks his teacher to use his chosen name. That's literally 32 pages of this book, and that's the core message of the book. Well, the Randolph County Board of Commissioners in North Carolina voted 3-2 to dissolve the entire library board of trustees after the board refused to ban that book.
Holy crap.
Refused to ban that book because the board voted to keep Call Me Max in the children's section of the library. And so, you know, how did we get here? Why is 32 pages about being called a nickname because you want to be called by a certain name? Why is that a problem? I don't understand.
Dig it.
Sarah?
Why is that a problem?
Yes.
I mean, I don't. I don't see the book as being a problem. I don't think any of the rest of us see that book as being a problem.
No, what it is these pus-oozing moral ass cowards are not protecting children from ideas. They're protecting ideas from children. So here's the thing. If you shield a kid that you don't want to be gay from gay literature, is that going to stop them from being gay?
No.
Brandon, no?
I don't think so.
I mean, your parents never let you have access to gay literature, right?
Oh. No.
And yet, even though you didn't have access to that kind of media, you're still gay. How is that possible? You were never exposed to it.
It's a miracle.
I mean, Elaine says the same thing. Like in Elaine's case, like, you know, her family never let her have access to that kind of shit to stop her from being a lesbian. That didn't work, but, you know, so, you know, that led into my first quote of the day, which was Marsha P. Johnson. And I hate using Marsha P. Johnson as often as I do, but Johnson really was a queer cultural icon. And she said, I was nobody from New Jersey until I became myself. And so that begs the question. So when some kid needed to see a name like Max on a library shelf, that's the child that Marsha was before she figured out who she was. That grief isn't a metaphor. It's the exact shape of every person told that their existence isn't worth cataloging. And why is a person's existence not worth cataloging? That county is not just erasing a book. It's erasing the sentence, "You're here," and someone wrote that down so that you would understand that. And so here's today's literary question. When was the first time you encountered yourself in a story or a piece of literature or a book or even a movie? Because I know it's happened. I'll tell you when it was for me. You laugh when I say this. First time I ever watched a Julia Child cooking show. And what I saw was not so much myself. I was a very young child when that happened. But I saw myself influenced by the person that I saw as my maternal figure, which was my grandmother, Helen. And that was when I knew who I wanted to be. Of course, it turns out I was never going to be allowed to do that, but there was something about. I hate to say this, but I found out much later in life that being around Julia Childs, outside of her cooking show, she was a very difficult person to approach. And she didn't talk to people, and So, but when I got older, look, I tried the French baguette like 6 fucking times before I gave up. Because I couldn't do it. There was that movie about the Julia Childs cookbook. What was it called? Like Julie
and Julia.
Yeah, Julie and Julia. Yeah. I made it through like 3 or 4 recipes in Julia Child's book before I said, fuck it, I'm not meant to do this. I'm not meant to do this. Not by a long shot. And I don't want to be. So, when was the first time you saw yourself in a story or a movie or a TV show?
I don't remember. As far as literature, I mean, I would have had to have been an adult before I read any kind of gay literature.
Oh no, I'm not talking about gay literature. I'm literally talking about the person that you saw yourself as the first time that ever happened. But we all go through that, right? That question is even, who was your first real hero? I know Kira has an interesting answer to this question, which is why I'm going to pick on her next. But at least I think I did.
Is Kira going to tell us?
I thought you were still answering.
No.
Sorry. I thought.
So, I'll teach you a valuable lesson about Kira. Because Kira laughed about my fucking bee sting. And I know Kira better than most people. I think I should, at least. And that's, Kira loves really strong female characters. really strong female characters.
That is true.
So, like, when you ask her, like, what part of the Fury Road movie did you like the most? The Tom Hardy Mad Max movie. She'll look at Furiosa. Charlize Theron's character in that movie is like the whole fucking reason she watches that movie. Of course, that's the same reason I watch. Because I love that character. I love a strong female character. There's not enough of those.
Mine possibly would have been, I don't know, Encyclopedia Brown, maybe?
Encyclopedia Brown.
Did you ever read any of that series?
I've heard of the series, but now I'm going to ask you why.
I mean, he was kind of nerdy, I guess, and inquisitive, and I don't know. I guess maybe seemed kind of a loner, maybe a bit. Didn't have a lot of friends. I can't remember like specifics of the story, but I remember connecting with that book or that series or whatever, that character.
I could.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, you were saying.
I can't remember as far as TV shows. I don't know. I can't remember. Identifying with a certain TV character. There are ones that I liked. I liked Mike Seaver on Growing Pains. I thought he was cute. He was.
Well, hold on. You know what he's turned into today?
I know. I'm talking about his character, though. I mean, he was the cool kid. Popular, good-looking, cool guy. And I admired that. I guess I liked that. Liked him.
Like if you could be Mike Seaver and gay, then that would have been fabulous.
Oh yeah, yeah.
For some strange reason, despite the fact that Kirk Cameron is like a super fucking like rockin' for Jesus Christian, I could almost see him as gay. I mean, sure, as a queer person, trans person, it's easy to see how people could be gay in certain cases. I mean, there's certain people that one could never imagine would be gay. Even though, like, for instance, John Wayne, people have said for years that John Wayne was actually gay. I'm not seeing that. Of course, these are also the same people that swore up and down that Liberace was not gay. And I look at those people and go, are you kidding? Okay. I don't think you're self-aware. So Kira, who?
I don't know if it's any one particular character. It's almost like an amalgamation of different characters from different books. TV shows and movies don't hit the same as far as the books, because the books, when you're reading books, especially if the main character is more of a character you identify with, it's easier to put yourself in that situation than it is to identify with a character from a movie or a show.
Right.
Yes, strong women. definitely feel more in line with that. Usually, also women that are more, I guess, more have like more masculine type traits. They are more open to speaking their mind. They are, they can protect themselves and others. Um, so when I'm reading a book and that is what I see in the character, I identify more with that character.
I mean, I could see that. I mean, when you read the queer space stories, if you read How I Write Renee,
Yeah.
I write Renee as a really fucking. Renee is a butch ass bitch you don't want to meet in a dark alley. Which,
Yes.
I mean, funnily enough, was when I was younger, and the person who that character is based on, whose name, by the way, was incidentally Renee, was very much that way. And I guess when I think about it, I never really thought that I was attracted to her. But when I think back on it now, and I've told her this even, I was very attracted to her. Didn't have a chance. I was not identifying as the correct gender. But the funny thing about it is the last time I talked to her and I told her I was trans, she was like, oh, okay. So we could date now. And I'm like, no, I'm with somebody now. And she's like, oh. Well, if you're never not dating her or whatever, just call me up. We'll go out. And I'm like, Renee, I don't want to be another notch in your bed. Okay? I don't want to. Look, I remember what happened between you and me and Jonah, and I do not want to be that person. That was a visceral early life experience. So, Sarah, you've had time to think about it.
Yeah, and I'm not any better for having had to think about it. I don't know that I've ever encountered somebody in any kind of media that I really identified with.
Really?
Yeah.
So you've never just felt a resonation?
Maybe about like individual traits, but it's not ever anything character specific.
Okay, well, what traits then? Now I have to know.
See, that wasn't the question, and that's not what I was thinking about.
Fuck you.
I talked about traits. You can talk about traits too.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't change the fact that I didn't have a chance to think about that part. Like, I was trying to think of like actual characters that I've identified with in some way, and I don't know that there's even a short list. It's just, yeah, I don't know.
Okay, I just have to point out, Miss Hughes, I love your comment that your gaydar was on fire even back then, talking about Rock Hudson being gay. Because I just want to point out, when Rock Hudson came out as gay, by the way, he came out as gay because he had AIDS and the clock was ticking. And all these heartthrobbing women were like, this is horrible. I want to go out and have sex with Rock Hudson now to make him not gay. Like, people were, yeah, right? This was the thing. Like, you know, which, by the way, I want to point out, this is probably why Cary Grant never came out as a gay man. And like the three big ones, so Richard Simmons never came out as gay. And I'm sorry, if Richard Simmons isn't gay, there are no gay people in the world. I'm sorry to say this. Cary Grant and Paul Lynde, who was the uncle on the Bewitched show. Oh gosh, huh? What? Or the '80s iteration of that personality, Jim J. Bullock from the Ted Knight Show. I don't think he ever came out either, or if he did, wasn't until much later. But like everybody knew, just everybody knew that that's who those people were, and so I understand back in the '80s the whole like, you don't tell people you're gay because if you come out then you'll be ostracized or whatever. Yeah, I totally get that. That was a thing. But that rationale leads right into my next quote, which was from Kiyoshi Kuramiya, who was a queer rights activist in the 80s and 90s. He died from AIDS in 2001. But his seminal moment was saying the government doesn't have to kill us. All they have to do is do nothing. Because at that time, society was so bent against us as people, queer, trans, gay, bi, ace, all stratas of the queer spectrum of people. Society was so against us, the government didn't have to do anything. They could just do nothing. And then, here's the problem. The architecture of saying that is the very thing that we're looking at right now. This is the architecture of every story that happens today. Randolph County didn't burn a book. They dissolved an entire education board over 32 fucking pages of a book that was just about a kid saying, I want you to call me Max. Why the fuck is that so hard? Why the fuck is that so difficult? The Iran war is being managed by an idiot who doesn't understand what a ceasefire is versus how long it takes to actually win a military conflict. On top of that, the Earth piece from today, there are soil species, 1 in 5 soil species in the world, not just the U.S., but in the world, is going extinct because nobody gives a shit about the environment.
What do you mean by soil species?
Like worms and insects.
Okay, soil-dwelling species. All right.
Yeah, soil-dwelling species. Elimination by omission is still just elimination. The mechanism that kills through inaction requires silence to function. And I'm sorry, I just won't be quiet about the fact that we're in a military conflict that we shouldn't be in because the guy who started the fucking conflict doesn't even understand how to fight the fucking conflict. I want to remind everybody that over the week, he fired the Navy secretary. Why did he fire the Navy secretary? Because he didn't like how the Navy secretary was managing shipbuilding in the U.S. Build ships faster so that you can build my Trump ship, my USS Trump ship. Which, by the way, I'm just going to tell you, if they ever really do build the USS Donald Trump, I hope that motherfucker gets sunk into the bottom of the ocean faster than any of us can blink so that none of us have to look at it again. But that mechanism, the mechanism that kills through inaction, requires that. And so how do you beat that? Show up. We come in here on Monday and Friday and we talk about this bullshit. And we have these talks. You name it as you see it. You intervene before the moment passes. And so the question then becomes, what are you currently calling waiting for the right moment that is if you're honest, simply choosing to look the other way. For me, that moment was choosing my transition over not. But I was so suicidal back then that it was just easier to deal with the feelings of wanting to unalive myself than to accept the fact that I needed to go through a change, and that change was something that was always there. It's easier to look away from something than it is for you to say, it's easier to look away. It's easier to say, I'm just waiting for the right time. I've seen that countless times in our community. And Kira knows probably the example I'm thinking of, but anyway, just waiting for the right moment to happen before you do something. Brandon, what are you simply choosing to look away from because you're telling yourself you're waiting for the right moment?
Choosing to look away from. Well, not necessarily because I'm waiting for the right moment or anything, but just choosing sometimes to look away from the news, whatever's going on in the world. Sometimes I just can't take it all in all the time.
Because forcing it forces you to accept that it's happening.
Yeah, and not necessarily to accept that it's happening, but that it will affect me personally, affect my mental health, my emotions. I know that it's happening, and I accept that it is happening, but to take it in is something different.
I've said this before in conversations, and this certainly applies to what you're saying right now, and that's, on Mastodon yesterday, I was having a conversation with people. They were talking about how tribal the administration is right now, and like violently tribal. And that comes out of a human element. And the human element is, and I've said this before, is that we're all parochial. We live inside the space that we live in, and we move around in that space. And moving outside of that space means no comfort, no security, no assurance, no, none of the things that you need to feel safe. And what you're saying, yeah, if I don't look at that, then I could just live inside my space and be okay. I can write the things that I write. I can do the things that I do. I can talk to the people that I talk to. I can engage with and who I want to at what time, and that provides me safety and security. So if I don't read it and I'm not conscious of it, that I don't allow it to infect me. That's one of the reasons why when I write the digest, look, I can only write like 3 articles at the front, like 3 sections at the front that are like, this is how fucking bad it is, because then the rest of the digest is, this is how you get through it. Because if all I did all day was just publish shit that said this person was fired, this person was killed, this person, 8 kids were killed in a shootout, whatever. If I did that every day, it would infect me. Much less do I think that it would infect other people. And there's only so much of that input you can take. You know, it's like telling Kira, don't scroll Blue Sky, which is what she's doing right now. If you do that again, Kira, I'm gonna. If you
Bee sting you?
You know, yeah. Oh, you mean this little guy right down here? You see my big bee sting right there? It's a pretty big bee sting. You know what Kira's choosing to look away from right now? Now's not the right time. My bee sting. Kira, it looks like you got bit by the same bee. What the fuck?
It's contagious.
Are we going to have a talk?
About bees?
Yeah.
Stop wearing flowery perfume.
Patchouli oil.
Is that supposed to like repel the bees?
I have no idea. But there's somebody in this relationship that wears that shit. I'm just gonna say that. Fuck you. No, there's somebody else that wears it, Kira. So, Kira, what are you choosing to wait for the right moment? I already know the answer to the question, but
What do you think the answer is?
did you write poetry a day or two ago?
I did.
Why then and why not another time?
Inspiration.
What was your inspiration?
A certain feeling.
Oh,
It just came about.
it just came about.
Yes.
You had
I had a muse.
you have a muse? I don't.
Does it buzz?
Wow, that could be taken a couple of different ways.
That's true.
Oh my.
The tension on this call just immediately went from this to that.
Yeah. So yeah.
So you were just waiting for the right time. That was just you choosing to look away.
And that's the thing is, it's not about looking away. It's just in regards to that, that's more of like I said, just inspiration, being inspired to actually take action to do something. So not exactly the same thing. Because I could easily say when to finally come out as trans and doing my transition was definitely a pushing down, looking away type moment where you suspect something and you kind of know something and you choose not to take action, but then it becomes so great that you can't stand anymore, so then you have to take action. So that more falls in line with your question, I believe.
I mean, I agree. You know, I hate to use a movie line, but you know, you wear a mask so long, you forget what you really look like under the mask. And by the time you want to pull the mask off, do you really even care at that point? Because you've lost sight entirely of who you were.
You know, the interesting thing is about, talking about that is when you talk about trans people, in my opinion, it's almost like you are actually born with a mask on and you have to find out who you are underneath it. That's part of the journey.
I think I'm just going to say, Kira, and Brandon, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like for any queer person, it's the same thing. There was a podcast that I used to listen to, and it was one of my favorite podcasts, and it was there at the moment that I started to transition. And it was a lesbian podcast, and one of the hosts, who I believe her name was Olivia, like her coming out story was she had an Xbox in her room and she was a teenager, and she this was in the days of Blockbuster, and so she was watching the L Word. Brandon, have you ever watched the L Word show?
I have not, but I've heard of it, but I haven't ever watched it.
That's like the seminal lesbian show ever. I mean, people still watch it today or whatever. I happen to own a couple of seasons of it. But what had happened was she was renting the L Word from the Blockbuster. And so the day she came out, she grabbed the Blockbuster video sleeve to take it back to the Blockbuster, but she left the L Word DVD in her Xbox. And the Blockbuster called her mom and said, "Oh, hey, so-and-so dropped their rental off, but it's not in the case." And she was like, "Oh, it's probably in her Xbox. I'll go get that." And she goes to grab it and then sees the L Word on the DVD or whatever. And then she was like, then my mom put like two and two together. And so when I got home, the mom was like, Blockbuster called and you left the DVD in your device in your room or whatever. And so I had to go and get it. And she was like, oh shit. And her mom was like, is there something you want to tell me? And she was like, well, what do you mean? I looked up what that show is. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's the same for any queer person. You're born.
I was in a Blockbuster once and looking at, I don't remember what section it was or whatever, but I saw a season of Queer as Folk, and I picked up that because I wanted to rent it. And then a couple people came in that I knew from church, and I was like turning bright red. I was like,
no, I'm putting this back.
Don't ask me what I'm renting, please. They didn't, but I was like so nervous.
I mean, how many times have you gone to see Rent before?
I've never seen it.
What? You've never seen Rent before?
Nope.
Oh, that's the gayest musical. Somebody in the chat confirmed that, but Rent is the gayest musical ever. Bar none. It is the gayest musical ever. Not gonna lie.
I don't know. I saw one with that not too long ago. That was a bunch of guys were naked the entire time. I can't remember what it was called, but it was a musical where they're just like singing and dancing in the nude. That was pretty gay.
Are you sure that's not the Thunder from Down Under in Las Vegas or something?
No, this was an actual musical. I wish I could remember the name of it. Maybe I'll look it up.
That sounds really good.
It sounds something. Hurry up and ask Sarah the question. I have to drop in 10 minutes.
Oh, that's right. Kira's going to go in 10 minutes. So. And I'll rush into the last quote for the close.
Oh, it's just naked boys singing. By the way, that's it was.
Oh, okay.
Naked boys singing. Yeah, from 2007.
Naked boys singing.
I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. That's just what it was.
Naked boys singing. I'm beside myself. All right, Sarah. So
I'm kind of torn on what direction to take this, because on the one hand, the thing that I'm kind of putting off isn't something that I'm ignoring or looking away from. It literally is something that I have to just wait on, which is selling my house. But then the other aspect of this was the idea that, from a coming out standpoint, and the idea of the idea that Kira pointed out about trans people being born with a mask, and I feel like I wasn't born with a mask on, although I'm not trans, but I learned at an early age that I needed to wear a mask, and then ignore that aspect of myself until I just couldn't anymore.
I relate to that part. Yeah, I don't think, because I didn't know really at first, so I think it's kind of I think I subconsciously or subconsciously put it on. Like I need this, I need to put this on, and didn't even think about it.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, it's not even really that you're conscious of there being a mask. Even it's more of, oh, you know, the people that I depend on or the people that I'm around consistently don't like this. So if I encounter this about myself, I need to, you know, avoid it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think that, yes, I agree that that's very true. Well, the last quote was Robin Wall Kimmerer, who was a botanist and MacArthur Fellow, and was the author of a book called Braiding Sweetgrass. By the way, if you've never read this, you should totally read it. But that's the book that taught us that to name something is to commit to its existence. And so her work with nature conservation directly shaped how soil biodiversity is framed by conservation science. And so modern conservation science probably would not exist without her. And so the quote is, know the names of others. It's the first step in knowing the rest of the world. Which the book is called Braiding Sweetgrass, Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teachings of Plants. And the reason that I called that out was they wanted a band called Me Mags, his name, a child asking to be known. And in Kimmerer's case, she means that soil fungi and goldenrod and all of the other things are similar to a trans boy in a classroom Um, you know, we say the names of people in the time in which they're trying to erase them. So from Kimmerer's case, dichotomy and classification and cataloging is where you discover the world, and what is happening is the world is attempting to kill that. And so, the question I had for that was, when tomorrow comes, what name will you carry as a pledge? And what will you do differently in your specific body, in your specific day, because you're carrying it? Well, I can't name the name that I'm carrying because I don't have permission. But I'm carrying that name in myself, in my day. And the reason is because that name has had such a profound effect on me, positively, that it has caused me to become even more keenly in tune with other aspects of my life that are aspects of my life that I want to constantly be in tune. So I'm even more in tune because of what I'm carrying around that I can't tell you because I don't have permission. And for me personally, that kind of strength is the strength I think that all people should have, should all be aware of. Of course, the hard part about it was that a time before right now, I was so viscerally emotional over this presence in my life that for a moment I thought the world was going to end. And I decided to not believe that because of the sake of that presence. And Kira, you got like 3 minutes, so you're either going to agree with me or disagree with me. If you say you agree, I'll just be fine with that.
Look at the time. I gotta go.
God damn it!
She actually did.
At least you answered the question.
What's the question?
Do you agree with me or disagree with me?
About what?
Oh, never mind. Goodbye. Goodbye.
It was an incredibly cryptic statement.
Well, how do you interpret it?
I'm not sure.
Why not?
Because it was very cryptic and there was a lot of details that you said you needed to leave out.
I don't have permission.
As you said.
Look, okay? I'm a good person. When the bee bites and the bee biting tells me not to do shit, I don't do it or the bee keeps biting me. Have you ever had the bee bite you, Brandon? Surely.
I've had a bee bite me.
Usually bees sting. Yellow jackets bite.
Oh, that's right. Bee. Sting. Yeah. And I liked it.
And you liked it. Well, that's certainly very pleasant. That's certainly very pleasant. So then what's the answer to the question, Sarah?
I don't even remember what the question was.
Oh, okay. You can maybe dig the question up.
The name?
Yeah. What
Was it
comes
specifically a name?
Yes, it's a name.
Oh,
And it can be nameless, but
I'll tell you mine.
okay. I'm all ears. Brandon.
Not specific names, but I feel like I don't know if this is where you're headed or not, but this is where I'm going with it. I carry around the names of all my past relationships and things that those relationships have changed in me. Even because most of the relationships I loved the other person on some level. Even when I had a girlfriend, I was hiding who I was. And in one relationship, it was based on physical attraction, and it was not a healthy one. And I stayed with them far too long. And then another one where I was in love with him and would have spent the rest of my life with him.
So, well, finish, but I have a question.
Oh no, I mean, I don't really know where I was ending that one, but they're all reminders of different pieces of me, different aspects of my personality throughout my life, and I've learned from them.
Well, as I think you should. As I think you should. So here's why I'm asking this. So there's one relationship in your life that you have talked about previously, and it has had it has had a strong presence in your life. And without revealing any unnecessary details, I know that relationship was terminal. And I know that relationship ended in a profoundly negative way. And I know it affects you, but I want to ask, because of the way you said that, what positive do you take away from that, if you can say?
That I am able to love and be loved, accept love from someone else, I think is the biggest thing, probably.
Right. So you are keenly aware that you are capable of love and being loved.
Yes.
I think that is an awareness that everyone should have. I think that's an awareness that everyone should have, and people don't. And people don't necessarily have that awareness. I have a very similar relationship, or I had a very similar relationship. And actually, this week, there were moments that I thought about that relationship. If you read the biography, and you shouldn't, and Sarah, don't link the biography in the chat, or I'm going to be mad at you. But you don't even really have to link it because it's promoted on the front page of the publication. But anyway, was my partner then at the time, Karen. And she unalived herself. It was a profoundly negative experience. But trying to find positives in that relationship were very difficult. And it wasn't until many years later that I became aware of the positive that came out of that relationship, which was that awareness, my awareness. That relationship caused me to become much more aware of my relationship surroundings. It also taught me not to just trust my instincts. You know, that it was more than just my instincts of being in a relationship. And so, you know, I had to let something go 4, 5, 6 days ago. Because I had this name that I'm walking around with, and I had to let a portion of that experience from many years ago, we're talking 32 years now, 31, 32 years now. I had to let a portion of that go before I could really say, yeah, this is what I need. This is what I want, like fully. I mean, I was already like 95% of the way there, but there was that 5% that was left, and I didn't know why. And so I had to think about it. And when I did, I was like, oh, it's because I really finally need to put that to rest and understand that while I love that person, the effect of my lack of awareness on that situation affected that situation. And so I should always be keenly aware. Because as it turns out, when you're in a relationship with somebody, being aware of your surroundings, much less being aware of their surroundings and how they're affected by those surroundings, makes for a rewarding relationship. You know, it's a lot more than just running your fingers over someone's back or, you know, touching a person in the right way or whatever. So, okay. Well, that was the answer to the question. Sarah, do you want to answer the question now?
The question was specifically about a name?
Yeah. When tomorrow comes, which name will you carry as a kind of pledge? And what will you do differently in your body, in your day, or whatever, because you're carrying that name, or that presence, or that person, or whatever?
I honestly think that my answer is very much like Brandon's. There's a lot of names that I carry because of these are people that have had an impact on my life, whether they're still around or not. And whether it's been a positive impact or not.
Well, I mean, you've had positive impacts. You've received positive impacts from other people, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, shit. Then I think you're doing a lot better than most of us.
But I still carry the names of the ones that had negative impact because I haven't finished processing that.
Why?
Because there's still more to unpack.
Do you think you'll ever be able to let that go fully?
I hope so. That would be ideal.
But that sounds doubtful.
Well, I mean, when you're dealing with 40 years of trauma, it's a lot to unpack.
I mean, you're talking to a person that has lived with Zoe trauma, my mother, for longer than 40 years.
And do you think that you'll ever be able to stop carrying that name?
Here's the thing about that. Let me put that into perspective for you. I've been through years of therapy, and I have had hundreds of EMDR sessions. I've been through MBT therapy and DBT therapy and CBT therapy, all geared around trying to deal with Zoe and the impact that Zoe had on me. Now, the fact that I call her Zoe is itself a sign I haven't let that go, because that's not her name. That's just the name I use to refer to her, because saying her name, her actual name, affects me in a profoundly disgusting way. But, flip side to that equation, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, if somebody that was wearing Chanel number 5 walked past me, I would have to find a dark corner, curl up into a super fetal position, and cry myself through an emotional trigger. By the way, an emotional trigger that would affect me in a way that, basically makes my ability to vocally communicate difficult. Recently, the last time I had that sensation, I wasn't near as non-vocal, and it was a lot less painful, but that trigger still exists. So will I ever be able to let that go? Probably not. Probably not. But me saying that, by the way, Sarah, I don't want to give you not hope that you won't be able to let that go. But what I can say is that as long as you and I still talk, as occasionally as we do, I can certainly validate that I understand that conflict and I understand that difficulty. So if you ever really do let it go, you can just tell me, hey, Wendy, I let it go. I'll do a victory lap around the house for you.
Well, we'll see. Maybe if I ever get into therapy, I'll be able to.
Confidence is key. Confidence is key. I mean, at least as far as I know. Now I just want to find the bee that bit me and kick their ass. What was that face for?
I'm trying to figure out how you don't know the bee that bit you.
It was dark. I couldn't see.
That seems problematic.
Mm-hmm. So was the penetration after the bee bit me.
Okay.
Okay. Brandon, do you have anything to close? Oh, Brandon, do you want my cooking thing for the day?
Do I?
Yeah, I think you do.
Oh boy.
I can't answer that for you. I'm sorry.
All right, so my side item were ramps. You know what ramps are?
Ramps?
Yeah,
It's a vegetable.
yeah.
I've never had. I've
Do you know
never.
okay, do you know what a moral is?
Yeah.
A mushroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, ramps and morels are in the same class.
Oh, okay.
So flash saute in a cast iron for 2 minutes, salt, and done. And it makes your kitchen smell like spring found the window and opened it.
I was gonna say makes it smell like fungus.
Yes. Dandelion greens. You know, the young leaves before they flower with lemon and olive oil make it taste like arugula, which, by the way, I have to ask, are either of you arugula fans?
I like it.
I wouldn't know arugula from any other leafy vegetable.
Well, it's like a mixed green. But in my opinion, it's a mixed green that tastes so disgusting. I'd rather lick a hooker's ass than eat arugula.
That's a strong opinion.
It really is.
Yeah, it's really a strong opinion. But what's your take on spinach?
I like raw spinach. I don't really care for cooked spinach by itself, but I don't mind it in dishes and pastas and things like that.
Okay,
Brandon,
so
when you say cooked spinach, do you mean the canned stuff or do you mean fresh, like sauteed or steamed?
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely not the canned stuff. I mean, that's just slimy and disgusting. But,
yeah, ugh.
I mean, even the wilted, I don't know. I'd rather
All
have
right,
fresh. I'd
All
just
right, so
rather have raw.
don't judge me here, but the late April pantry dish is garlic rice with a fried egg, wilted spinach, sesame oil, and chili crisp. So you toast the garlic and sesame oil, add the leftover rice, wilt the spinach, the fried egg, chili crisp, and a splash of soy goes into the whole thing. Toss it together and eat it.
I would have it that way, yeah.
That sounds good.
So you'd eat wilted spinach that way. Like the only thing that I would probably do different is throw in some bacon to add a protein, or a ham, like a cubed ham, to throw in a protein. You know, but I also hear that throwing a bunch of pasta with salami and pepperoni and you know, cubed cheese in a cold pasta salad is also relatively amazing.
I think it depends on the dressing.
Well, which dressing would you use?
Probably a red wine vinaigrette.
Really?
I might actually add some Black Forest ham to that.
Oh, okay. It's funny. I had the very same dressing earlier this week. It was amazing.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't know. So that's my cooking bit for the so garlic rice with fried egg, wilted spinach, sesame oil, and chili crisp. That's kind of a that's kind of a choice, though.
Well, that one was relatively painless.
I specifically left out white cannelloni beans. No beans, Brandon. No beans.
No beans.
Wait, are you against baked beans entirely? Or is it
No,
just beans?
no, I'll eat beans. I like black beans. I like pinto beans. Sometimes butter beans are okay.
Frijoles.
Whoa, hold on. Butter beans. Now, when you say butter beans, do you mean over-ripened lima beans or lima beans?
No, like the skin, the flat, the bigger flat butter beans. I don't know what they are, but
Yeah, it basically to me, all a butter bean is. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong about this, but to me, a butter bean is literally just a more ripened lima bean. When they cultivate lima beans, I think they cultivate them early, which makes them firmer. But butter beans are the same bean, just softer.
I don't like Great Northern beans.
Right. Well, Great Northern beans, cannelloni beans, and the other white bean, or those are the ones I can't.
You are correct. Butter beans are a large, flat, pale yellow white beans that are botanically mature form of lima beans.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Basically, when you buy lima beans in the store, what you're getting is immature butter beans. Versus when you buy butter beans, you're just getting properly matured.
I wonder if that's why I don't like lima beans.
Probably.
I prefer mature relationships.
I mean, look, I think we should not call them butter beans. I think we should call them cougar beans. Cougar beans. You know, especially if younger people like to eat them.
Daddy beans.
Right, daddy beans. Have you gone out with them again recently, Brandon?
No, haven't talked.
Really?
Yeah.
You need to come to Atlanta so I can get you married.
Oh gosh.
You need to come to Atlanta so I can get you married.
I was on the live last night with a guy in the LGBTQ community.
Oh, I saw that. So, do you think you can get him on one of the? You think you can get him on one of our shows?
That might take a bit. He has a bit of anxiety about being fully present on lives and on, I don't know, just putting himself out there. So I'll see.
I'm all for creating a calm and inclusive environment. All for it. All for creating a calm and inclusive environment. All right. Well, you had a good session with him.
It was great. It was a lot of fun. We talked the entire time and didn't have any kind of awkward silences or lulls in the conversation. It went very well.
Nice.
I was kind of disappointed in the attendance. I was hoping more people would come in and watch, but can't do anything about that.
So how many shows are you doing a week?
Well, I mean, I do one with Sturge every Tuesday, and then I've been trying to do at least one other one, interviewing another or going on live with someone else at least once a week in addition to that.
Right.
but I don't have like a regular time because you have to work with the other person's schedule and everything. It just doesn't. That's really difficult to do if you want certain people and they work during the day or whatever. I don't know. There's just
No, I mean, scheduling is always a thing. I think that's one of the reasons why I think I'm really probably going to go back to doing a Wednesday night show. If I could get Kira and maybe Sarah, I don't know. She's busy all the time, so.
I'm so busy.
Have you met your person yet?
look at the time.
You and Kira, run him the fuck away. What the hell? Why are you avoiding this? You know what? Fuck it. Fine, I won't ask anymore. I'm just going to write about it. I'm going to write porn in the next story about you and Kirsten and Isabella, and that's all there's going to be to it.
Wow.
You say porn?
Yeah, I'm going to write porn.
Oh, all right.
I honest opinion. So, I mean, this out to the readers too, but I want your opinion about this, Brandon. So, yesterday's story was about Marcus and his wife coming to terms with the fact that he's bisexual. So I've asked a few people this question. And so here's the question. Does that story arc end with him being with a guy one time to find out if he's really actually bisexual? 2, him being in a poly relationship with his wife and a male lover. Or 3, Sarah pegging the shit out of him to satisfy his bisexual urges.
I hate that I share a name with this character minus a letter.
So that's the question, Brandon.
Do you have any other characters that are in poly relationships in this?
Sarah's character is in a poly relationship that nobody knows who the fuck it is.
Oh, is it a poly relationship?
Apparently.
Oh, well.
So yes, I have poly characters that appear in the bar story.
Well, then I don't know then.
Right. So, but the thing that I'm trying to write into the story, and I think I did a really good job with last night's story, was because this is a thing: bi invisibility and bi erasure is a real problem. Mainly because people think that other sexualities have essentially over encompassed bisexual relationships or whatever. And so bi erasure is a real problem. So I have been writing that theme into those stories. So, all right, well, thank you for your input. I'm profoundly happy.
I don't feel like I helped at all, but you're welcome.
No, I think you did a very good job.
Is it no longer live?
Oh no, we're still actively discussing. Why, were you gonna say something?
Yeah.
Okay, that nose ring is really fucking cute, by the way.
I don't know if you're still doing it in the middle of the live session or it's just the 3 p.m.
No, we're tailing up. We're tailing up. All right, well, Brandon, Sarah, Kira, who is off camera now. Thank you, all 3 of you. Thank you, everybody that's Marnie, if your daughter is in Atlanta and she's a queer person, you should refer the publication to her, because at least Kira and I live in East Atlanta. If she needs queer, community or whatever. Marnie, that's exactly why I'm writing the Marcus storyline. But anyway, so all right, well, cool. Brandon, Monday, maybe.
Yep, should be fine.
Okay, Sarah, you good for Monday?
I have an appointment Monday. I should be back before then, though.
Okay, well, I mean, we can go half hour top or down, whatever, just to keep everybody on the interest. Keep everybody on the interest. So, all right, well, cool. Everybody that's watching on Substack, Blue Sky Live, PeerTube, and OwnCast, thank you for watching the show. We'll be back next week.
Bye.
Bye.